What's up? Welcome back to Mossy Creek Customs. We got a Jeep in here today. So I love doing these Jeeps. They're so easy. The only thing about the power here is you got to run it all the way across. But there's a little plastic cap right there that you can pop out and put a rubber grommet in. And I've fit up to 3 aught gauges through there. But I love these things just because there's stuff like this. You got factory ground here on both sides. You got one back here, and you got one over there that I'm going to be using. Just got this sound bar in. Took the factory sound bar out. Factory sound bar has, like, I think these new ones actually have 6.5s, 2 6.5s and 2 little tweeters, and this has got 4 8s and 4 tweeters. And then putting in this sub box fits nice right over the fender well. Bolts down. There's actually these are bolts that come with the sub box and this bracket, and there was actually a hole there and a hole there, and there's like a nut welded on the bottom, so it's super easy to install. The kit actually comes with 2, but this one's got the factory sub over here. You can take this panel off and properly delete all that so the system still thinks it's there, and put a typical panel there, and then have the 2 subs. We're just doing the one. We're going to keep the factory sub in there right now. But most of the time on these Jeeps, I run the amps under the seats. Sometimes you can fit a smaller amp under the front seats, but we got this 5-channel. It's kind of long, so we're going to throw it up under the back seat, because you can see there's all kinds of room under there. See, I already you got wires coming up. I got speaker wires and RGBs that go to the sound bar. And see right here, factory ground. I mean, they only give you so much wire on your ground. You want to keep your ground short, so it's perfect, because right there you got a ground. Put an amp under that seat. Eventually I'm going to be putting an amp either under this seat or the driver's seat, but like I showed on the other side, on the driver's side, there's a ground there, there's a ground on the other side. Like, this thing's super accessible. Typical plastic panels you pull off, and then you could literally just pull all this carpet out if you wanted to, and run everything zip tied to the factory harnesses, which is what I'm pretty much doing. I'm doing it without pulling all the carpet out. Sometimes you can get, if you do it right, you can get inside those little plastic panels. If you unbolt this, you can pull this apart and get your wire through there. Some of these panels kind of snap in tight. See, I got this one through here, and then it comes out underneath where that wire comes out, because these panels snap over this tight, and if you get a wire in the wrong spot, then it's not going to look right. It's going to be sticking up. Got the integration system, going to be pulling that out, put the T-harness in, give us our channels for the amps. But this one's actually a 5-channel. This is running the sound bar and the sub in the back. It's just the 110. I could run 2 of them 10s off of this, run them at 1 ohm, and this amp will put out 1500 watts. But I'm only doing the one since I don't have anywhere to put the other one, because it's got the factory sub. But just a little update of what we got going on now. All of this will light up. That decal, tweeters, speakers, it's all RGBs. The sub that we put in was not, you can put what we call a hydro sub, which pretty much is the same thing as those. It looks like that. It's just a 10 or 12, and it's a sub, waterproof. But this is actually our I believe it was a Gen right here, Gen XX 10. Typically running 1 sub, I would run 2 ohm, so I can run at, ultimately run it stable at 1 ohm. But we didn't have 2 ohm in stock, and I'm trying to knock this out, so we threw that 4 ohm in there. We're just going to keep it at 4 ohm because only running one, that amp's almost overpowered, so we're going to keep it at 4 ohm. We should be perfect on power, and still get a little bump because we'll still have a little bit of bass coming from that factory sub. Don't mind a mess, just some of the customer stuff I just put out of the way. But yep, trying to knock this Jeep out. So we do have a bar on these Jeeps. You can see this piece here comes out. There's bolt holes. We have a bar we're going to be putting in, and it bolts right here, and it actually comes out and immediately kicks up and follows the bar up there, because then you can hang your tower speakers. We're going to be doing 4 tower speakers, 8-inch tower speakers, and if that bar was to come out straight and then you had your tower speakers hanging, then you'd be limited on what you can fit in the back. And they're talking about, you know, they got a youngin', they're trying to put a stroller in here, so we'll be able to have that kick up bar, and then our speakers will be hanging almost like at the top of the back seat, so there'll be a ton of room back here, especially putting a sub over there. We talked about doing a big box, but it is going to be sort of a show build, but in the end, I mean, you want to be able to throw the kids and the wife in there and ride around if you're in Daytona. So yeah, just in my opinion, every time I do these Jeeps, first thing I do, just pull them front seats. Now you do have to don't be trying to mess around and do this without taking this door loose. You gotta pop this. It's like a T40, because everything else is like the seats are T50. Pop that T40 out, and then you got this little loop. You gotta unhook that loop from this hook, and then pull this connector off and roll the door back. And you gotta be careful. My bad, wrong side. You gotta be careful because sometimes this door will hit in weird spots. So you just kind of, this guy's got some freaking spacers and huge tires, so I just like slowly let it back and let it just rest on the tire. Tire's soft, it's not gonna scratch the paint, it just sits there, don't bump it. But with that door swung open, what you can do is unbolt, move the seat forward, back, get to the bolts, and then center the seat with the track, and then up and forward, and you can literally just come straight out with the door, the seat, without hitting the door. Otherwise, the track is gonna hit the door panel, scratch the paint, scratch the plastic. Get the door out of the way. Don't be messing around trying to finagle that seat out. It's super easy. All you do is just reach underneath, pop these 2 little plastic clips that's plugged into the seat, and then get these 2 connectors unplugged. They have little safety clips. You pull back the little safety clip, push it, pull it out, route it out from under the little lever bar that you move the seat back and forth, so it'll stay when you pull the seat up, and it just literally comes right out. This model don't have anything to do, like the seat belts stay on the vehicle. It's super easy. Pop them seats out, it makes it so much easier. You can see there where I got that aught gauge, I kind of ran it over and around to that side. I was originally putting it over here and changed my mind because where I'm putting that 5-channel, trying to keep everything kind of isolated in one area. But like I said, I do have one more thing here I haven't mentioned. Now I ran that aught gauge in here because I knew I was going to be running 2 amps. I got that 5-channel I'm running, which is a 4-gauge input, power and ground, and then I'm going to be running more than likely the 3000.4 on the towers in the back. So what I did is I ran that aught gauge over here. This is the end of it here. What I'm going to do is I have here it is, just basic. I can pull that sleeve out, got aught gauge in, pull them sleeves out, 4-gauge out. So what I'm going to do is almost have this distribution under here. So now when I come back to, he's he's gonna be picking it up after the sound bar and the sub's done, and then he's gonna be coming back to do the towers. So then at that point, all I gotta do is pull this one, I ain't even gotta pull the driver's side out no more. I just pull this seat out. Right here I'll have my distribution block, and I'll have my 4 gauge going to my other amp already hooked up, and then I'll have the other port that I'll run the power to an amp and have the amp right here under the seat, run my ground right here, and then I'll have my remote wire that I'll already have under here cooled up, and my RCAs under here already cooled up, because I'm only going to get into there one time, do the 4-channel module with the 4 output channels, and then I'll have, I think it's 3 actually. You have a front, rear, and a sub. So I'll run my front will go to my 5-channel amp for the sound bar. My rear will come down to under the seat and stay here for the amp for the towers in the back, and then my sub channel, I'll run it to that 5-channel amp. So I'll have the front and the sub hooked up already, and I'll have the rear coming down here, and I'll have the remote wire, everything there. I'm not going to go ahead and put the amp in there because of course you'd have to pay for it, and they're not doing that part yet. So, but I'm going to go ahead and have everything ready, have all the wires here to where literally all I got to do is plug the amp in, hang the towers, pull the wires back to the amp, and tie them in. Make it super simple. Just try to plan ahead, just because he knows he wants to do all this, and I'm trying to make it easier on myself, not having to go through all this more than once. Like just having that power there and being able to just drop an amp in place and run with it. Now the soundbar, actually you can get the harness that's pre-wired, and it's got a plug that's just sticking out of the soundbar, and then you plug the wire that comes with it from there, and it runs over, and then I pull it down through here and then just follow all the way down, and then it comes down and goes over. That's where I got it coming out right here. This is the harness that actually comes with the soundbar, or sometimes I just make them myself. Depends on what we're doing. But it's got all 4 channels, and then it's got your RGBs. Typically I stick my RGB controller under the console because it's easy to get power right off from the radio, and you got your grounds on either side. Whichever side I use for an amp, I'll use the other side to ground that RGB controller, and then in which this case it'll be the other side. And at that point what I'll do is I'll have my RGBs tied in to the soundbar, and I'll have RGBs over here, so that way whenever I run my speaker wires from my pods over here, they'll have RGBs, and I can tie into that RGB controller that's over there and not have to pull that seat out. So every little thing I can do to kind of make it easier next time, even if I don't know that I'm getting back into it. Like there's a lot of things I'll do, like these distribution blocks and stuff, like things that I can do that not have to do things twice, if you know what I mean. So that's a good little update. Knock this out. I guess I'll do a quick little, maybe a short or something like that when I get everything in, the lights on and everything. We'll see what it looks like. So till then, later.